over the next 2 days what you're doing to transform and move your businesses forward. And it amazes me how far we've come. We have 5,000 people from over 50 countries here in the room this morning. We've got people from virtually every country here in Europe, and from farther afield like China, Australia, and Uruguay. Welcome. Welcome to Summit. Thank you for the investment and time that you're making in Adobe this week. And more importantly, for the investment that you make in the Adobe partnership and in our technology. One of the things that I like to do is, I'm a self-proclaimed data nerd. And because we all know, right? I mean, data is the new, or nerd is the new black. You've got over 100 people here from RBS. I always like to look at who do we have in the audience. 100 people here from RBS. Where's the RBS team? Right there in the middle. You guys got here early. Good job. Tesco's got over 60 attendees. Sky has over 50. Lots of big teams here coming together to figure out what learnings can we take back to move our business forward. And this year, the data showed we have a highly varied audience just in terms of titles here in the room. We've got the entire C-suite represented here in the room. Data analysts, media buyers, campaign planners, and data scientists. But every year there's always a few unique titles that jump off the page at me. And this year it was no exception. There is a person here in this room that has the title, literally on a business card, here in this room, of Biggie McDataface. I mean, I feel like we're spirit animals. We're BFFs and we haven't met yet. So you're a bigger data nerd than I am, and that says something. So Biggie McDataface, have a great summit. Well done. So the audience, I think, really highlights the breadth of the transformation that this industry has undergone. And when you see the different titles, you may make an argument that there is a reason to have all these roles across our organizations. But today, I'd like to challenge that. Digital marketing, it's not about you. It's not about me. It's not about Adobe. It's really not even about our customers. This is all about people. Because when you boil it down, we are all here for the same reason. And that's to give people great experiences. It's that simple. And it's that big. Historically, marketers have been the biggest nurturers and advocates for consumers and the customer experience. And that has never been more important than right now. Some of you may be familiar with Procter & Gamble's mantra, the consumer is boss. They're right. More than ever, we are no longer an economy of products and services. Experiences are what matter. People today share a growing affinity for moments over material. And this is especially true for the millions of millennials that are out there. You don't believe me? Just check out your Instagram feed. Look at what they're sharing. As marketers, we need to stop selling products and realize that we are selling experiences. The actual item that's advertised and purchased to get that great experience, it's just along for the ride. This is our new reality. At Adobe, this is what we do. Our mission has always been to change the world through digital experiences, long before it was the industry flavor of the month. We are the only company that helps you with every stage of the great experiences, from the content creation all the way through delivering that experience to consumers. We help you meet the changing needs and demands of today's consumers. And a great experience always starts with great content. Beautiful design and eye-catching imagery have always had the power to move, to influence, to educate, to incite people to action, and to build a brand. And going digital used to be as simple as going from the print to web. But with multi-screen, with laptops, desktops, mobile phones, it's become more complex. And now with the physical environment, in retail, in hotels and airports, restaurants and cars, and digital and physical are further being blended through the virtual and augmented and mixed reality. And while design and aesthetics have never been more important, the technology of content creation with graphics, videos, apps, and experience design is more complex than ever. And the velocity at which you need to create content has never been faster. And great experiences always start with delivering the right content to the right person at the right time, and that starts with data. Insights and intelligence are the engine of engaging experiences. Because we all know that robots are never going to do great marketing, that human intelligence and human intuition cannot be replaced. But if we can harness, bring together the power of computing, both man and machine, to work faster and smarter, we believe we can do big things. At Adobe, we've always been about empowering people, giving people the tools to bring their ideas to life and to achieve the impact that they have on them. Today, Adobe Creative Cloud is the one-stop shop for creative professionals, powering content creation and enabling content velocity. And Adobe Document Cloud is a way for us to move from paper-based to 100% paper-based transactions to 100% digital workflows. You'll see this from stage today. And Adobe Marketing Cloud is the most comprehensive suite of integrated technology on the planet. Our innovation agenda at Adobe is to bring all of these three clouds together so that you can power great experiences for your consumers. Because when you add this growing appetite for great experiences to our customers' hyper-elevated expectations that are primarily being driven by mobile and the Internet of Things explosion, meeting these expectations becomes increasingly challenging. Because every person, whether you're a local pub regular or you're a global brand loyalist, now expects you to not only know them, but to deliver an experience and a journey that is consistent, continuous, and compelling. I think we all were really excited to watch Leicester win the Premier League championship. This is a team that it's a true Cinderella story. At the beginning of the Premier League season, people placed on Leicester 5,000 to 1 odds of them winning the championship. And just to put that in perspective, you get the same odds to walk out on the street and bump into Elvis that he's actually alive. This was a long shot. And they pulled together as a team, and it gives you a little bit of a sense for what they were facing. That Manchester United, they spent in the last 2 years on their player budgets the same amount that Leicester has spent over its entire 132-year history. I guess it's not the size of the budget that matters, it's how you use it. So this is really exciting. We didn't want to miss a moment of these games. We're at the pub with our friends, we're watching the Leicester match on the TV, but we've got to get home. So we get our mobile device, we get on the train, we're continuing to watch the game as we go there. We get into our car. We want our car to be aware of where I am in the game so that it can give me updates in a safe way so that I don't get in an accident. I arrive home. I want, when I walk into my home, to be able to flick this match right from my phone to the screen on my wall so that I can have a consistent, continuous, and compelling viewing experience. It's now what's expected. This has brought us all to this pivotal point. We are now on the cusp of a tectonic enterprise shift that will cause enterprises to transform in ways they haven't had to for decades. It will change not just how enterprises market and sell their products. It will change how they organize, how they reward employees, and how they develop products. And it will force all of us, everyone in this room, as individuals to change. This disruption is being driven by rapid advances in technology that are changing the buying patterns of consumers. And we're at the early stages of the third such enterprise shift that we have seen in the last 50 years. But to quickly put this third shift in perspective, let me talk quickly about the first two. The first wave of enterprise disruption affected the back office. This was when it began in the 60s. And during this period, during the early stages of computing, enterprises took manual processes where they were filling out paperwork to connect their supply chains and their inventory systems. You'd fill it out and then you'd walk to the building next door and file it on someone's to-do box. And when enterprises figured out they could connect these systems and you could decrease the amount of errors that you have, you can get greater inventory and manufacturing velocity, you could increase your revenue. The boardroom conversations at this time were about how to implement these systems so you could drive greater competitive advantage. And it worked for decades. But what ended up happening is the ERP product, these ERP products that were once considered a bold, even risky investment, they now are a standard enterprise infrastructure for pretty much every company on the globe. As a result, you cannot get competitive advantage by how you deploy these type of technology. It's now table stakes. And shortly after this back office transformation came the front office transformation with the CRM revolution. And this is where we took our sales teams and how we engaged with our customers. And we completely turned that on its head, because it's amazing to think about that just 20 years ago, state of the art for a salesperson was to have a Rolodex. You know, that monstrosity that sat on your desk with the little cards where you keep track of all your customer conversations directly in the Rolodex. That and a phone were state of the art. And with the CRM revolution, then you can now connect all these conversations. Your sales team can add that to the information. You can move with greater velocity, increase your revenue, increase the amount of the ability that you can work through your sales pipeline. Again, the boardroom conversations were about how to implement CRM. Let's train our people to use this. But eventually, today, CRM is now ubiquitous. The competitive advantage has receded. It is now table stakes. Which brings us to today. The third wave of enterprise transformation begins. This wave also spawns from new technology. But that's where the similarities with the first two waves end. Because the previous two waves, let's be honest, it was about us. It was about the business. It helped us do our jobs better. It made our lives better. This wave isn't about us. It's about her. It's about the consumer. It's about the experience that we provide to consumers as they shop, buy, and use our products and services. This wave is about goose pimples and smiles and bringing people closer together. It's even about nothing. Yes, nothing. It's about doing our jobs so well that the consumer doesn't even know that you and I exist. We are closing the gap between people and the things that they want to do and the people that they want to be with. Our job is to make that happen and then to get out of the way. Because all of the people from your organization, from the board to your CEO, all the way down to the receptionist, must become the stewards of the consumer experience. Putting your entire organization at their fingertips. This is the wave of the experience business. The experience business is about surprising and delighting your customers at every single touch point and part of their lives. To do this, the enterprise as a whole needs to become experience obsessed, having a holistic view of your consumers, viewing them as a single dynamic person, wowing them every single day with a great experience. The third wave, this experience business wave, was inevitable from the moment that the early enterprise disruption happened. And when it began decades ago, it was never a matter of if, it was simply a matter of when it was going to happen. And it's now here. The experience business wave, it is now the new competitive battleground. The first companies to adapt and evolve will be wildly successful. But the laggards, they're going to get called out by their customers, publicly and loudly. Because the experience business, it's very democratic. Everyone has a voice now, and boy, do they use them. Consider that since 2000, over half of the companies who were on the Fortune 500 list in 2000 are no longer on the list today. We're here in this room because we know how big this opportunity is, and we know that how dire the consequences will be if we fail. We know that as great as our products may be, if we fail in delivering the experience of when they're shopping for, buying, and using our products, well, then it is game over. The question I pose to you: are you an experienced business? It's a daunting question, I know, but it's also really rewarding. Putting people first, making experiences that matter, it makes all of our jobs more meaningful. I truly think today is the most exciting time to be a marketer, to be a salesperson, a developer, to be in business ever. So what does an experienced business look like through the eyes of the customer? Because that's who will be the ultimate judge for whether we succeed or fail. First, an experienced business will know me and respect me. It can anticipate, predict, and deliver what I want even before I ask for it. And it can do it, all of that, while respecting and considering my privacy. Second, an experienced business will speak in one voice, always in context. It knows I don't care about its organizational chart. I don't care if I'm speaking to your support team, your product team, your sales team, your in-store team. I want it to be a consistent and relevant message. Third, an experienced business will make technology transparent. It lets me set the terms for our interaction, knowing that the medium truly is not the message. The experience is. So forcing an app, my phone or my car, into your marketing process just because you think it's really cool, well, that's not cool. Only do it if it makes sense for the experience. I don't care, as a consumer, about the process of how you get there. I care about the end result. Fourth, and finally, an experienced business will delight me at every turn. An experienced business rapidly innovates and disrupts itself to meet my changing expectations, because an experienced business knows that today's, yes, fab experience is tomorrow's, just not that great of experience. And we all know we've heard about Moore's Law, right? Moore's Law, computing power, it doubles every 18 months. And that makes sense to those of us in technology, but you know what makes sense to a consumer? The law of experience. And that is my expectations of you as a brand. That's going to double every 18 months. So if you haven't started planning for this, these escalating expectations, well, we better get started. Let me tell you about a brand I have high expectations for. Let's take Delta Airlines. I fly Delta. I'm probably more with Delta than I am with my family, unfortunately. I fly all over the world. And Delta, from the moment I check in on my app to where I board a plane, I sit down, I log into Wi-Fi, I consume content, and I pick up my bags, they're always informing me, keeping me informed of what's happening. And no matter where I am in my journey, they're delivering me a consistent, compelling, and continuous experience. Take HBO. HBO identified this TV everywhere trend early. And now I want to be able to consume HBO content no matter where I am, on whatever device. And with HBO Go and HBO Now, I can now consume that content without thinking about what my subscription terms are and what I have access to. I just get what I want when I want it. Let's take Heathrow Airport. Many of us here have had, in this room, have had a Heathrow experience in the last 48 hours. This brand has been undergoing a vast transformation to rethinking its entire experience, who its customers actually are, and enhancing both the in-airport and digital experience. And today, we have Simon Chatfield, head of e-business and CRM for Heathrow, to share more about how Heathrow is transforming and becoming an experienced business. So, please join me in welcoming Simon to the stage. Hey, Simon. Good, let's have a seat. Simon, welcome to Summit. We got 5,000 of your closest friends and colleagues here.
It's great to be here.
So we were talking yesterday, and Simon, well, tell us a little bit about how you ended up in Heathrow. What did you do before Heathrow? Career-wise, how did you kind of land here as doing this big, reinvention for a great brand?
So a long time ago, in fact, I was at British Airways and a number of other British travel groups, always in the loyalty space both here and in the US, but then moved into consulting. And one of my final projects as a consultant was to come to Heathrow and help them define what that digital strategy looks like. And then I kind of made the almost foolish decision to then jump ship and go and deliver that strategy, which maybe something I would recommend to other people.
And we have, Simon, we have a lot of consultants, we probably have some consultants here in the room. You violated the code of consultants. What you did is you made a recommendation to a brand, and then rather than running away, you went and now you're on the hook.
On the hook, those business-based numbers, yeah, absolutely.
You actually have to deliver it. We'll see if that was smart over time.
It was a good move, I can assure you.
So, Simon, tell us, I think everyone knows Heathrow here in the room, but tell us a little bit about the brand, about the company, in terms of how many people come through, what are the big initiatives that you guys are thinking about?
Okay. So we are the busiest airport in Europe. We welcome around 75 million passengers through our doors every year to over 184 different destinations. And we're also one of the most successful retail spaces in the UK. So it's a big business. And in fact, in recent years, we've made big investments in the likes of Terminal 5 and Terminal 2. We've created these cathedrals to travel, and we filled them with really innovative products and services, and that's allowed us to really put ourselves up from, if I'm honest, the doldrums of the global airport satisfaction rankings to this year being named once again Europe's best airport. But it's not enough. I think we're celebrating our 70th anniversary this month, in fact, at the end of this month, 70 years from our first flight. And as a business, we've set ourselves a new vision, and that's to deliver the world's best airport service.
A couple of things you said in there. I've never heard an airport like using words like cathedral and retail. So you're starting to break the mold of what it means to be an airport. Let me ask you a question. Who are your customers?
Our customers are primarily our passengers. Yes, we have business customers of our airlines, and we make sure we look after them and we provide whatever services they need. But at the end of the day, the passengers are the ones who travel through. We need to create that journey for them, ease them through the terminal. And yes, we have commercial objectives to meet, so they are the people who shop in our shops, who dine in our restaurants. So it's a mix, but primarily we've got to focus on those passengers.
So, and I flew in, and apparently you mentioned Terminal 5 and Terminal 2, and I just shared with everyone I fly a lot on Delta. I landed at Heathrow, and apparently I wasn't in Terminal 5 or Terminal 2. So how do I get Delta into one of these cathedrals?
Okay, that would be a tricky ask. I think my advice would be you've got to change your loyalty program. Maybe start to look at the One World or Star Alliance. But there's some really interesting things coming to T4. Great new shopping and dining stuff coming. So watch this space at Terminal 4.
So I need to wait. Okay.
Yeah.
Or switch.
Or switch, indeed.
Okay. You're still, even though you're no longer working at British Airways, you're still plugging it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Cut me open. A little bit purple for Heathrow, and a little bit red, white, and blue.
You mentioned something about the customer, and one of the biggest complaints I have. I'm married. I've got 3 kids, and my wife's least favorite thing to do is travel with me because she says that even when we're in an airport, I'm still in business traveler mode, and she said I need to behave differently when I'm traveling with family, and we had a great conversation about personas. Mm-hmm. Who are the key personas that you think about as a marketer? In the customer base for Heathrow.
Okay. So when we've been defining, as part of this big transformation, defining what good looks like in a customer experience, we've gone back to, as you say, personas. Why is someone traveling through Heathrow today? Is it because they're a long-haul connecting traveller? Are they travelling with family outbound from the UK? Are they unfamiliar foreign tourists? And by looking at those, by ascertaining who you are, we can look at what your wants and needs are. In fact, the approach we've taken to defining what good looks like is one of journey mapping. So we've had teams from across the airport absolutely step through the journey for each of those personas, from the point of even considering travel, to booking, to traveling to the airport, to going through security, getting on a plane, through all our terminals. And that's allowed us to identify those pain points where, you know what, if we just had a little bit of a different intervention, maybe some new digital functionality, maybe just a bit more information, or something as simple as just one of our security officers just, you know, taking you by the hand and just acknowledging that it's difficult traveling with kids, and putting that into an experience, and also looking at some of the gain points where we do it well. If only we could dial it up, if only we could excite people more often and do it consistently and tell more people about it, then we would see, you know, greater satisfaction across the board.
And you know, it's interesting because we had the conversation when I travel through an airport. I don't know that I feel like, oh, I'm a customer of the airport. I feel like I'm a customer of the airline. And so you have this unique thing in terms of the people are passing through, and it represents, I mean, you're head of e-business and CRM, that presents a data challenge as well for you in terms of how do I even know who my customers are as they make this couple-hour journey through my experience.
You're absolutely right. That is the challenge. How do we recognize people when they're coming and why they're coming? Because I want to know, I've got this great experience and I want to deliver it to you, but I just don't know when you're coming. It may surprise a lot of people in the audience that we simply don't know. That data is proprietary of the airlines, even though, you know, we're kind of unique. You have to make a reservation to come to see us, and you have to show your boarding pass on our hardware to get into our front door, but I don't have that as a marketeer. So I need to find other ways of recognizing you before you arrive and building up a picture of you, so that I can then deliver an experience. And that's where digital tools and specifically digital marketing has turned it on its head. We can now go step back outside our front door to the very first interaction you might have with a display advert. We can start to recognize what you interact with, what you don't interact with. When you come onto our website or maybe a partner website, we can start to see, again, building on that customer view, regardless of the channel that you're getting there. So by the time that you are coming onto our estate, be that Heathrow.com, we can start to use those digital tools to give you personalized content, or to send a push notification when you hit our geofence, or when you log into free Wi-Fi, of which we send around 50,000 modular emails in split second after you register every day to people who log into our Wi-Fi. All of that is, we can now tailor those communications based on what we know about you. So, yes, we didn't have the data. Yes, we didn't have those touch points before. It was just based on the time, the golden hour you were in our departure lounge. But we've almost, we've blown the door open really to extend our brand engagement to passengers, and in doing so deliver that superior experience.
Well, and it's interesting because you said a couple things to where, Heathrow as a brand, you've got security, which is never anyone's favorite part, important, but not a fantastic experience. But then you get in, you've got top end in Terminal 5 and Terminal 2. There's some fantastic restaurants.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I wouldn't know.
Absolutely.
I mean, I wouldn't know, but other people have told me. And then retail. So you've got this broad experience to where it's like you can't just be an airport. You can't just be like, hey, I scanned your boarding ticket and get on. You have to think much more broadly.
Yeah.
And how do you think about physical and digital worlds coming together? That's something we talk a lot about.
Absolutely, and in terms of trends moving forward, in the retail space, our retail brands are demanding more of an immersive brand experience, and so you'll see even this year some of our stores changing to be way more interactive, to allow those brands to really immerse you into their experience. But also, we're a bit short of space, and so how can they merchandise more of their stock through a small space, through interactive screens and things. If we look at things like beacons, so geolocation and location-based services, they're really high on our agenda at the moment. So how do we, how can I better how can I join that physical with the digital so that as soon as you're passing through, I know where you are and I can start to message you, I can start to guide you better. So yeah, that merging of the phygital is exactly where we're at.
And I think it's interesting because Heathrow, as a brand, it's a great brand. It's a brand that you say Heathrow no matter where you are in the world. You don't have to say Heathrow Airport. It's Heathrow as a brand. And I didn't know until we had talked in terms of you think about the challenges of becoming an experienced business and starting from where you are today. You mentioned a little bit earlier, but Heathrow was ranked at, I don't remember how long ago it was, but at the bottom in terms of the experience. And now ranked as, in standardized surveys, third-party surveys, ranked as the top airport in Europe.
Yep, we're amongst the top of the airport in Europe, absolutely.
And you guys aren't stopping there. Goal is, you said yesterday, you're taking on some of the others, and you want to be the top in the world.
Yep, we're going to compete with the likes of Hong Kong, Singapore, Changi. They do it well, and actually we want to get there, but we want to go further. That is, we need to deliver the world's best airport service.
Well, and it's great. I mean, the thing about Heathrow is it's a brand that's almost crossed into pop culture. Every other movie you watch, you're somewhere in the Heathrow Airport with Born Ultimatum, Love Actually. There's a touching scene where they're welcoming people as they come out. Just a great brand. Simon, thank you for sharing some of your success, and thank you for being a great partner to Adobe. Let's give them a hand.
Thanks, Brad.